Hello, I'm Beelzebub and welcome to my channel. You may have heard earlier this week that in Pennsylvania there was a massive cover-up of rape involving more than 300 priests over the course of 70 years. And as though the number of accused priests wasn't staggering enough, and you're going to want to be sitting down for this part, according to a report issued by a grand jury, more than 1,000 victims were identified. On an unfortunate note, only 2 cases in the report resulted in criminal charges, and it's unlikely to lead to any more because of how the law stands with the statute of limitations. And for some reason I can't figure out, Pennsylvania's state legislature hasn't lifted the statute of limitations. I mean, we're talking about arguably one of the largest investigations since the nationwide investigation conducted by a royal commission in Australia. This despite the grand jury and attorney general's strong recommendation to extend the statute of limitations in civil and criminal cases, giving older victims a chance to file charges against them, as well as the church. And the Catholic Church, for very obvious reasons, has lobbied to not extend the statute of limitations. Something that shows, to me anyway, that the church's primary concern is the protection of itself and its own, and to hell with its victims and accusers, many of whom have suffered in silence for years, if not decades. And in true church fashion, Pennsylvania's bishops called for prayers for the victims, because we all know that prayers are going to make the pain of betrayal and the mental scars left behind by these people the children were supposed to be able to trust all better, right? But on top of that, several bishops claimed that there was no cover-up, despite the mountain of evidence to the contrary. I'm going to quote directly from the New York Times article here, because frankly I'd have worded it almost exactly the same way, and credit should absolutely go where it's due. Church officials followed a playbook for concealing the truth, the grand jury said, minimizing the abuse by using words like inappropriate contact instead of rape, assigning priests untrained in sexual abuse cases to investigate their colleagues, and not informing the community of the real reasons behind removing an accused priest. Tell his parishioners that he is on sick leave, or suffering from nervous exhaustion, or say nothing at all, the report said. How is it that the Catholic Church is allowed to conduct its own internal investigations? Why are they not required to immediately involve secular authorities to conduct an investigation, instead of, and I quote again, assigning priests untrained in sexual abuse cases to investigate their colleagues? The only conclusion I can come to here is that the church wants the investigation to get botched, so they can get away with doing any wrongdoing. An organization should never be allowed to investigate itself for accusations against it. That just opens the door to allow the most inept or incompetent investigator to fail and come up dry when something heinous has actually happened. But that's what's going on here in the States. So let's talk about what's going on at the Vatican. So far, and today is Friday, and the report was released Tuesday, the Pope has said nothing about what's going on in Pennsylvania. Not a word. And it took 2 days for the Vatican's press office to respond at all. Let's take a look at what they had to say, shall we? Regarding the report made public in Pennsylvania this week, There are two words that can express the feelings faced with these horrible crimes: shame and sorrow. The Holy See treats with great seriousness the work of the investigating grand jury of Pennsylvania and the lengthy interim report it has produced. The Holy See condemns unequivocally the sexual abuse of minors. Greg Burke, Director of the Vatican's Press Office. Am I the only person having trouble believing that they're really sorry? These are horrible crimes, yes. You'd have to be a damn fool or a monster to say that they're not. Shame and sorrow are the emotions that should be felt by the perpetrators and anyone in any way involved with the cover-ups. But I just don't believe this is anything more than an apology they're expected to make. And if the condemnation of sexual abuse of minors is so unequivocal, how in the hell do priests who commit these atrocities and the higher-ups who cover for them face little, if any, consequences, or even get promoted? This has been going on for at least 70 years. Is there really no process for vetting people being promoted to these influential and powerful positions in the church? Or is it a kind of don't ask, don't tell thing where it's ignored? This is one of the most powerful, largest, wealthiest, and influential organizations in the world. Unfortunately, it also appears to be one of the most irresponsible and negligent in the world. Before I go, I want to briefly mention an article from CatholicLeague.org. In the article, Bill Donohue, the president of the Catholic League, debunks the investigation. The article is an 11-page Word document, so I won't debunk his debunk in this video, but I will leave a link in the description box with my other sources for the video. I will simplify it down to this. Bill Donohue outright lies, bends the truth, seeks to discredit the grand jury, tries to blame it on homosexuality rather than pedophilia. He even claims at the bottom of page 2 and the top of page 3 that the Catholic Church is being singled out and other institutions are being ignored. He also makes another claim that a lot of the accusations aren't actually rape, but just sexual assault because it didn't involve any kind of penetration. I've got a question for you, Bill. Is that a distinction you really want to have made? Does it really make it that much better? No, it really doesn't. No, that should not be a distinction anyone ever makes. That's disgusting and obscene. He whines about a witch hunt, and witch hunt is my words, not his, but it's close enough, saying that they're just after the Catholic Church, seemingly forgetting that about 1/4 of Pennsylvania's population is Catholic, and forgetting that liberal and conservative Catholics alike are asking for a proper investigation to be done. How Mr. Donohue sleeps at night is a mystery to me. How he could have so little, if any, compassion for the victims is a mystery to me. I didn't much care for him when I was a practicing Catholic, and I like him much less since I abandoned that putrid, decrepit, and vile faith. My recommendation to the Pennsylvania legislature: extend the statute of limitations so any victim who wants it can seek justice. Even if the accused priest is dead, justice can still be served in some way. that's going to do it for this video. If you found it informative, please leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share the video. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter to keep up with all my comings and goings. I know this one was rough and depressing, but it needed to be said, and I appreciate everyone who stuck it out to the end. Take it easy, everyone, and I will see you all in the next one.